People love to tell you that you can't rewire your life. Like there's an expiry date stamp somewhere between your 30s and your midlife crisis. But neuroscience says otherwise. Actually, it says your brain is dying to reinvent yourself, right? So today we're going to talk about why your brain is literally wired for reinvention and why the too late narrative, that is absolute unscientific and soul-sucking bullshit.
Ever feel like life passed you by while you were being responsible? Like everyone else got a head start on success, on happiness or purpose, and now you're just trying not to fall asleep during your own life. Well, welcome to Too Late My Ass. This is the podcast for anyone who's ever thought it was too late. Too late to dream again, to build again, or begin again. So spoiler alert, it's not. I'm Fay Chapple, and I'm here to help you burn the rule book, rewrite the script, and become the main character in your next chapter. So whether you're 39, 49, 59, or 79, this isn't about getting your groove back. It's about finally giving yourself permission to freaking exist exactly as you are. So hit subscribe, tell that inner critic to take several seats, and let's make this your comeback era, because too late, my ass.
When I was younger, I used to believe that personality was fixed, right? I'd say things like, well, that's just how I am. But that's not science. That's surrender. And here's the deal. Your brain, specifically your prefrontal cortex, is really never stops learning, connecting, adapting, even in your 50s, your 60s, and your 70s. That ability is really called neuroplasticity. And what it does, it lets, for example, stroke survivors walk again, trauma survivors rebuild, and people like you get to start entire new lives, entire new careers, or you can do caregiving or chaos. You can manage through everything, and that's what it's all about. So if someone ever tells you people don't change, tell them that's cute, but neurologically, that is wrong, right? Because reinvention isn't about becoming someone else. It's about reintroducing yourself to the version of you that's been buried under years of should, right? In our inner circle, our membership, we get to ask our members, just give us your questions. Ask us anything you want, and we will be happy to answer them on the podcast. So we picked out a few today that went with this theme. And one of the questions I got was, Faye, how I get that, we change, but why does it feel so damn hard to start? And that's really a great one, and probably one you're thinking about right now. And I'll tell you why. Because your brain is lazy. Like, no offense, but it loves a routine. And even if that routine is self-sabotage, it still loves it, right? So your neural pathways are kind of like hiking trails. The more you walk them, the clearer it gets. So when you try to take on a new path, like, for example, quitting a job or starting a business or finally prioritizing yourself, your brain panics. It literally fires up. Right? Your internal drama queen starts screaming, danger, danger, uncertainty, or what is that? Lost in Space? Yeah, if you guys know that show, if you don't know the reference, look it up. Danger, danger. So it's basically telling you to run. But here's where it gets cool. Every time you keep walking that new path, it gets easier, right? And we know that because we talk about momentum, and we talk about one step at a time, and it gets better and better. Because when it gets easier, that's really your neurons laying a fresh track. And it's the biology of reinvention. It makes a massive difference. That rewiring moment is present in so many things. When my husband had his stroke, everything I thought I knew about life truly exploded. I went from, we're building a business, to I'm holding the family together. And for a while, I didn't even recognize the woman that was staring back at me in the mirror. And yet, that's where my brain started rewiring. It didn't happen because I meditated on a mountain. It happened because survival forced growth, right? The truth is your biggest breakthroughs are really biological invitations to upgrade, right? So when life cracks you open, your brain floods with a chemical called BDNF. It's brain-derived neurotrophic factor, I think. I love that. So it's like fertilizer. Let's call it fertilizer. It's fertilizer for new neural growth. And you get to choose what grows in that soil, fear or freedom. That's what makes the start really hard. So the other question I got was, Fay, why are you saying burnout can actually be useful? Because that goes hand in hand, right? Well, hell yes, if you don't unpack in it, right? Burnout is your brain's emergency signal. It's saying this version of the life you're leading no longer exists, but we misread it as failure. It's not failure. It's feedback. That's why in our Act 2, in our inner circle, we focus on burnout as a blueprint. So you can trace every breakdown to a truth that you've been avoiding. And once you see that, you start designing differently, right? Do you see? So burnout isn't the end. It's your starting line, right? That makes it, when you start recognizing that it is not your end game, it is actually your beginning game, that's when things change. So we get through identifying it, identifying burnout, understanding it. So we understand going into the science of second acts, right? Of doing things differently, right? So let's talk about it a little bit, about that myth of diminishing returns. You know, you've heard it. I'm too old to start a business. This is what the theme is about this whole channel. I missed my window and no one wants to hear from me now, right? But science disagrees. The reason we're talking so highly on science today is I want you to really understand this isn't woo-woo. This isn't about philosophy. It is true science. And according to research from Harvard and MIT, creativity and innovation increase with age. Did you hear that? Increase with age when combined with emotional regulation and experience. So what does that translate to in layman's words, right? You're not past your prime. You're sitting right in the middle of it. I can't say this enough because we've been conditioned to think reinvention belongs to the young. Meanwhile, neuroscience is over here shouting, excuse me, it's actually experience that drives evolution, right? Your brain craves novelty. It craves challenge. It craves purpose. Those are the three things that keep it young. So if you've been coasting, your brain's really bored. And a bored brain is really a depressed brain, right? So here's a quick exercise from my comeback kit, which if you haven't downloaded, feel free, just go to toolatemyass.com and you can grab it there. I want you to write down 3 things that scare you a little, not panic level, just enough to make your stomach kind of flutter, right? And then do one of them this week. And each time you do, you light up your dopamine, your reward circuit, right? And then you will start seeing, subtle changes that will make a difference. So do one of them every single week, but just do one this week. And each time you do, things will change. You will start rewiring your courage. Courage isn't a character trait. It's a chemical pattern. So we are trying to move forward by doing simple little things to rewire our brain. So, you know, it's interesting because when you start doing this and start trying to reinvent whatever it is in your life, what I like to call the reinvention reframe, you're going to have people that are going to say to you, you've changed, right? Have you heard that? And I want you to smile and say, thank you. It's called neuroplasticity, right? Because reinvention isn't about proving anything. It's about remembering what you've always been capable of. So the next time your brain whispers, it's too late, I want you to whisper back, too late, my ass. That's the line. That's the mantra. It's not branding. It's rebellion. It's a neurological interruption of your brain's outdated programming. It is true science, right? So I want you to understand, if you've been listening the last couple of weeks and you've just been saying, I have to change my mindset, you have to change your mind. You have to change your brain. And this proves that it actually can work. So one of the other questions I got was, how do I start if I don't even know what I want anymore? Is that you? Are you asking that question? How do I start if I don't even know what I want anymore? So I want you to start small, but I want you to start anywhere. Your brain just needs direction, doesn't need a master plan. I want you to ask yourself, for example, what's one thing that would make me feel alive again? And then act like it matters, because it actually does. You don't need clarity as much as you need movement, because clarity is a byproduct of that movement. You know, the last episode we talked about momentum, right? Instead of motivation. This is the same thing, because the truth is your brain is not broken. It's just bored. And the moment you stop chasing perfection and start choosing possibility, you'll feel that old spark come back. So I want you to really think about what we've talked about today. And if you love this episode, make sure you grab that comeback kit that I talked about, because it's packed with the prompts and the neuroscience tools to get your reinvention firing, getting you going. And if you want to go deeper, look on our website, because you can find out about our Act 2 Inner Circle. And that's a private podcast where we give you behind the scenes with my producer, some Q&As. You can ask me questions that I'll answer online, tools to make you to make you feel more consistent. So I want you to really take hold of what we've talked about today and understand that it's not just woo-woo. It is actually neuroscience that can make changes to your life. This has been Too Late My Ass, because your story isn't over. It's finally getting good.
Thanks for listening to Too Late My Ass. If this episode made you feel seen or heard or a little more ready to take your damn life back, then go ahead and hit that follow button. If you want to go deeper, grab your free comeback kit at toolatemyass.com and join the Act 2 Insiders list for weekly tools, community, and reminders that your story is far from over. Remember, you're not done. You're just getting started. Too Late My Ass, produced by the City Media Group.